A very good afternoon. It is the 27th of February 2021. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch UBC Lunchtime News with me, Sharon. In our top stories of the day, President Yoweri Museveni, the Electoral Commission and the Attorney General filed their affidavits in reply to Robert Chagulanyi's application to withdraw the 2021 presidential elections petition. Although the respondents don't object to the application, they however disagree on some grounds raised by the applicant in withdrawing the petition. Details below.
Wednesday this week, Supreme Court directed all parties in the presidential elections petition of 2021 on their way to go after receiving Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu's application, seeking to withdraw his petition from this court. On this, the respondents in the matter were ordered to make their responses before Saturday, and the applicant Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu to make his rejoinders on Saturday. Following these directives, Friday morning, the respondents in this matter have filed their affidavits in reply to the Office of the Supreme Court Registrar, which were received by Luwangula Henry. President Museveni's affidavits were sworn in by his lawyer Oscar Kihika, presenting 35 grounds to Chagulanyi Sentamu's application. In the affidavit, President Museveni addressed court on a number of grounds in the application, however accuses Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu for failure to meet court's time as earlier directed, and he also objected to the alleged abductions and kidnaps of the applicant witnesses.
That is what we filed, and we shall await court's decision in respect of the matter. I'm not opposing the application to withdraw, but we've put in some facts to set the record straight. Yes.
According to Osama Sebofu, one of President Museveni's lawyers, although the respondent makes some highlights on some grounds, they don't object to the application.
If he decided to withdraw his case, that is his choice. So for us, we can only follow the law.
How much have you requested as fees for your time?
No, it will be presented before, if that time comes. So by now, we've not put anything to do with cost in our affidavit in reply. Thank you.
We shall wait for court's decision about them. But the gist of the reply is that we do not object to the application to withdraw. However, we've put in some facts to set the record straight.
Attorney General, who did not object to the application, his affidavit in reply was sworn in by Counsel Jackson Kafuz, who also clarified to court a number of issues raised by the applicant. On the ground of limited time, as alleged by the applicant, Attorney General says time was fixed to allow court to make verdict in the case as per the rules governing this application. They also addressed court on the issue of alleged abductions, arrests of some witnesses. However, Attorney General says witnesses like Betty Namboze Bachirike, the Secretary General for National Unity Platform Louis Lubongeya, their evidence was submitted late in court, yet they were not arrested as the applicant alleges. Attorney General also dismisses allegations of security organs being at offices of the National Unity Platform, saying the applicant did not inform them over this issue. After filing their responses, it has now remained to the discretion of the applicant to file a rejoinder tomorrow Saturday, as elected by this honorable court. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
In more stories, the Supreme Court on Friday advised former presidential candidate Willie Mayambala to seek services of a lawyer with a view of filing a formal application intending to take over an already withdrawn presidential election petition. Supreme Court Registrar Harriet Saliluquago advises Willie Mayambala to read rules on how someone can take on a presidential elections petition from another party. Details follow.
Thursday afternoon, the former presidential candidate Engineer Willie Mayambala wrote to the Chief Justice of Uganda, Alfonso Winyidoro, seeking to be guided on what he can do in regard to taking over Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu's petition. In referring to Mayambala's letter Friday morning, the Registrar of Supreme Court, Harriet Saliluquago, has advised him to get lawyers.
So now it is upon him to either file an application or stop it at that. He had to be advised like that because as court, we can only refer him to a lawyer so that he presents the lawyer his reasons, they sit down and he takes instructions, which we cannot do as court because court is not, that's not our duty to listen to the parties who are not before court.
Sally also advised Mayambala to look for Section 61, subsection 2 of the Presidential Elections Act, which permits any candidate who might have been a petitioner in respect of petition to which the petitioner refers may apply to court to be a substitute petitioner for the petitioner who desires to withdraw.
That law provides for how a petition can be taken over by a person who was a candidate in the elections. So specifically, he's being advised to look at that law, because it is the one which governs the takeover of presidential election petitions.
If court allows Mayambala to take on this petition, time seems not to be on his side, since court is only left with 18 days to give its verdict. Kalemani also highlights on the issues of gazetting Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu's application, where he says the preparations are underway.
This has to be done by the registrar of the court. So the registrar of the court has done all that is required, but the gazette is not yet out, but it is expected any time from now.
Engineer Mayambala, whom we tried to reach on phone about this later, however declined to pick our calls.
The subscriber you have called does not answer. Please try again later. The subscriber you have called does not answer. Please try again later.
Wida Mayambala, who wants to take on Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu's petition, participated in 2020-2021 presidential elections race and was announced last in the race of 11 candidates. After scoring a percentage of 0.15, Kyagulanyi on Wednesday officially asked court to be permitted to withdraw his presidential elections petition, citing a number of reasons, including failure to accept his evidence that has been filed out of time, abduction and torture of those who would have been his witnesses, interference with his privacy by security operatives, among other grounds. Deborah Namamonde, UBC News.
Political and social commentators in Uganda are seeking for the integration of Africa as the main solution to challenges facing the continent. Makerere University Don Mwambusi Ndebese decries what he describes as growing threat of recolonization of Africa, underscoring the need to fight attempted scramble for continent. This was during commemorations to mark 125 years of Ethiopian victory against Italians in the 1896 at the Battle of Adwa that saved Ethiopia from being colonized.
The battles at the time were many, as some Africans attempted to resist colonial rule. Only Ethiopia emerged victorious, defeating Italians at their own game at the Battle of Adwa in 1896. This says a lot about what Africa is capable of doing to protect its own interests and autonomy.
In my village, a man said that a man is never a man every day. You only need to be a man one day, and everybody knows that you are a man. Because you can't keep every day proving that you are a man in the village. No. You need to put somebody down and everybody knows that you are a man. So this battle was one event that told the West that Africa can stand on her own.
The bravery exhibited by Ethiopia and eventually delivering victory against white man's rule is what Africa needs.
What do the young generation get from Adwa to enable us move forward in this neo-colonialism?
And it should continue inspiring the spirit of Pan-Africanism, the pride of Africa in fighting imperialism and fighting recolonization.
And movements like Black Lives Matter must stand up and emphasize African dignity.
The day may be significant to Africa, but what is it that other African countries can learn for future peaceful coexistence and togetherness? The answer is this.
Africa would be vulnerable if it does not integrate, because as a single nation, these countries or as nation states, they are not able to stand up against aggression. We need cooperation in terms of defense.
Possibly,
there should be a sponsorship at the AU to adopt a resolution that the ADOA, as an important site, be recognized as an African-owned site, and it should be celebrated annually to remind us, to remind the Africans that this was a great historical event that needs to be kept in our minds, and its spirit should be kept alive if Africa is to survive in the 21st century.
The event to commemorate the victory of ADOA was jointly organized by Makerere University in partnership with the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Ethiopia.
This was inspirational for the entire Pan-Africanism world over.
It is not only the victory of ADOA or the victory of Ethiopian, it is a victory of Africans in the continent, in the diaspora, whom fought colonialism.
To date, the victory of ADOA remains a preeminent symbol of Pan-Africanism, after Ethiopia and Liberia survived white man's rule in Africa. Henry Okurut, UBC.
The cultivating of talent.
In more news, the Minister of State for Primary Healthcare, Dr. Joyce Moreko, has advised medical students to emphasize health promotion and disease prevention to avoid preventable diseases killing people. Kaduchi was officiating the opening of the 34th Federation of African Medical Students Associations General Assembly in Bara. Now, the conference, organized under the theme Embracing Technology in Light of Pandemics and Persistent Health Challenges in Rural Africa, was attended by medical students from across Africa.
As government of Uganda, our key priority lies on health promotion and disease prevention. The government of NRM, right from the onset, put in place measures to prevent preventable diseases. The strategies that have been put in child health survival have seen many of our children grown up today into young adults. The strategies have significantly reduced maternal infant mortality, neonatal mortality. We're speaking about immunization, we're speaking about nutrition, we are speaking about water for drinking, clean water. We're speaking about sanitation and hygiene. We're speaking about behavioral preventable lifestyle diseases and the communicable diseases. And I want to call upon each and medical student and challenge you. Let's put a little bit of effort in these preventable diseases. Over 75% of diseases across the African continent are preventable. If we put in place more emphasis on immunization, as we've seen in the case of COVID vaccine, which are almost at the door, and that is the salvage we are all waiting. That is the only remedy that is going to save our people. So I want to challenge all of us to think more about preventable diseases, health promotion, and disease prevention for God and mankind.
This year we're talking about technology for health in Africa. We realize that technology is what advances every other thing in the world, including health. But in Africa, all the technologies advancing health come from different parts of the world. That means as a consumer, we have to always lag behind until the people out there help us out. Take a point in chance, the COVID-19 vaccine. Because we are not the ones who created it, the most we can do is beg for mercies from the other countries that created it so that we can get the vaccine. So here, as medical students, we are discussing how we can change the narrative. Yeah? Changing the narrative in that us, as medical students, we embrace technology to create things in health right from here in Africa.
1, 2, 3, go!
Parents of children with hearing impairments want government to come up with special insurance scheme for cochlear implant operation. While joining the rest of the world to commemorate the International Cochlear Implant Day, experts expressed the need for awareness for the chance through using technology.
Persons with a profound hearing loss in Uganda have commemorated the International Cochlear Implant Day. This cochlear implant acts as a substance which directly stimulates the cochlear nerve to provide a hearing sense.
And put gadgets and wires into the inner ear where the hearing center, sensory center is. They put the wires there and then they put sensors outside which help the machine to start to stimulate the hearing center.
A person with profound hearing loss can have the device surgically inserted into their inner ear within a place called the cochlea.
There's an awesome improvement. It's exciting. It keeps you hopeful. He's, before we used to use sign language. We used to use the hands. Not that we went to school and learned it, but he himself, he tried to
see results just in 1 month. We believe that by the end of a year, Josiah will be fluent in speech and will be able to go with his siblings to normal schools.
There's also a challenge of worrying about the implant getting lost, because it would mean you would look for much more money to get those gadgets back, to replace them actually.
It comes to a parent with a child with hearing loss, it is terrible. Because like for Murungi Josiah, you find that the school fees for 1 term is about 2.5 million.
Parents who have so undertaken this surgery attribute its impact of providing a chance to their children despite being costly.
Many families who have medical insurance, but insurance is not picking up hearing aids, is not picking up cochlear implants. And yet if this was picked up, I'm sure the biomedics would be happy to work with insurance companies to provide services to many families.
Now what happens in many countries, because this gadget is expensive, in many countries that have a health insurance, it contributes a certain percentage on these gadgets.
Parents want the government to initiate special insurance scheme to cater for people who lost hearing sense.
And we are told that only 17% of people who need the intervention have it. So you're actually saying 83% of the rest of the population who would need the intervention of either cochlear implant or hearing aids don't access it.
The surgical operation of cochlea ranges between 7 to 15 million shillings, which is too costly to a layman. Hearing loss can result from genetic complications at birth, the use of particular drugs, among others. Abdul Nasser, Luwama, UBC News.
Very good initiative right there for those that are impaired. In more stories, Uganda's Certificate of Education examination began on Friday with a briefing to all candidates across the country. In Lira, a CEO of a renowned company is among the 4,387 candidates registered for UCE in Lango. Sebridjana, the tycoon, was briefed along with 93 others at Lango College in Lira City. Details for that.
Uganda is set to hold its first national examinations after the education system was dogged by COVID-19. At Lao College, 93 candidates who registered for UCE were briefed together with 54 candidates who registered under Lira Town Hall and are to write their exams at Lao College. Town Hall is a center that provides an opportunity for any citizen who wishes to continue with the studies, register and sit examination, and it is here where Tony Opio, who is the proprietor of Universal Interlink Company Limited, is writing his exams.
I really felt so much challenge in life, given the kind of business that I'm doing. It is an international kind of business, so I had a lot of people. And I was just like, why can't I go back? I can still make it.
Opio noted that academic background is key to the management of a flourishing business.
Because sometimes you're limited, especially in the departments of accounts. You know, we deal with the money.
Meanwhile, Sami Bobokino, the teacher of Lao College, also the supervisor of all the Lira police station schools, explained that preparing candidates was not an easy task.
I don't expect a very big hurdle, much as it is scientific, apart from the challenge of spacing due to the 2 meters. But all will be well.
Me personally, COVID-19 has affected me because some of the topics are not completed, but our teachers have struggled. But where they have pushed us to is now not all that bad.
However, at Menta Senior Secondary School, one of the excelling private schools in Lira City, 130 candidates were briefed.
So during the lockdown, we were able to teach our students using the EduTele program.
And I'm confident enough that with the information you've given me, I am able to make it and score 8 for 8.
Again, Rotmasi Abel, a candidate at Menta, is optimistic of excelling and advised other school dropouts not to relent.
Some of them have already gotten pregnant. It cannot still stop you from coming back to school after your delivery to come and continue, because education is for all. Maybe you made it by mistake, but you can still make it even if you come back to school.
Senior 4 candidates started their exams this Friday by briefing and will sit physics practical on Monday. Ediolwa, UBC News.
UBC Lunchtime News will take a short commercial break and we'll be back with more stories.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. From now on, we're not going to leave anything on our plates, because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
Stay connected to the largest 4G network in Uganda, anytime, anywhere, using the Airtel 4G Pocket MiFi, available at only 123,000 Uganda shillings. This comes with 15 GB free, valid for a month. You can connect up to 10 users at a go and still enjoy a shared yet unmatched internet experience. Dial *175*9# to activate free 15 GB. Visit the nearest Airtel shop to get one today. Airtel, the smartphone network. Airtel is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
You're still watching UBC Lunchtime News. In more stories, government has been urged to slow down both internet and smartphone charges and taxes if the digitalization of the transport sector is to develop. This was during the launch of a new border application codenamed Chill, a transportation subsidiary from Canada.
Uganda is one of the leading countries with the youngest population in the world, and the worst of it is that although many have acquired relative skills, many wake up on a daily basis without formal and paying jobs. With little options at hand, but with many daily demands, boda and taxi driving comes in as a possible substitute. With the over 30,000 self-employees across the country, but with a constant demand, customers tracking and reliability becomes a major challenge. In a move aimed at easing accessibility and improving services, especially to passengers, individuals and various companies have formulated applications which for the last 10 years have taken shape in the boda industry across the country.
We've been doing this for over 2 years now, but we're just launching today. It's not easy, especially during this COVID-19, very difficult. But we believe Ugandans deserve our service because it's affordable, because we are investing in the riders. We're giving 80% to the riders, another 5% for a saving.
However, a variety of challenges ranging from unfair prices to poor and substandard operating conditions still poses as major threats to the innovation.
The ups and downs ziriwo zibadde zitutegeerera ng'onnyuka nga tolina ssente tebalina ngeri gye batulamu ku boodi eteesa bbeeyi y'amafuta ate ne bagamba nti mugenda kuvugiranga 3,000 okuva e Kawempe paka mu kibuga weekanga ng'okola olunaku lulamba nga tolina ssente.
As many of these applications rely most on internet and smartphones, government is urged to slap down costs and taxes on these services if the digitalization of the transport system is to take course.
First and foremost, I condemn the restrictions which is being put on data, because data is in ways of movement and living. People now can't live without data. And data is expensive in Uganda compared to other countries.
Failure for observance and implementation of road and traffic rules is also singled out as one of the major impulses facing the transport sector in Uganda.
Our boda industry here is really not something to talk about. It's a mess. There are no rules. People behave as they want to. But when you go to other places where people ride borders, they wear the helmet all the time, they are clean, they follow the road traffic code. Here nobody follows the traffic code. If you all follow the traffic code and know when to stop, when to drive, how to overtake, you will understand how good it is to be on the road when you're a boda.
This was at the launch of a new boda application codenamed Chili, whose operations are docking in the country from Canada, where the application has served the transportation sector for over a decade. Robert Onyango, UBC News, Kampala.
Kwatesimu! For the first time in Uganda, you can pay in installments and own a smartphone instantly. Get to own the Samsung A3 Core, Samsung A01 or Samsung A11 and pay back in either daily, weekly or monthly installments for a period of a year. To check if you're eligible for the offer, dial *284*49# today. You also enjoy free 500 MB on the purchased phone every month for the entire loan repayment period. Ha! Uganda nyuma! Airtel, the smartphone network, in proud partnership with MasterCard, Samsung, and Asante Financial Services.
The day the world stopped was the day we found where to go. From now on, we are not going to leave anything on our plates, because we've learned to savor the moments that were always there, and they never tasted this good.
Well, thank you so much for tuning in to watch UBC Lunchtime News with me, Sharon, Kyomugisha. Have a lovely afternoon and a great weekend. And that's all we had for you at 1 p.m. from 1 to 1:30 p.m. Good afternoon.